welcome to Two Drunk Geeks, a show in which me, Eddie Edwards, and Mr. Jonathan Wray sit around, drink, talk about things we want to talk about anyway, and watch movies that are terrible. In an allegedly terrible, in an ongoing attempt to basically turn doing things that we like doing anyway into something more meaningful that we can maybe make money from. So it's all about the views,
we do it
man.
because we love it.
It's all about the subs.
We do it because we love it.
Yeah, to be fair, if I was in this for the money, I would have given up by now. My science show is hilariously unsuccessful. I get like 12 views a week.
That's fine, that's 12 more than I get.
Right, anyway, so today we are watching a movie called Miami Connection, which I had stumbled across. I read about in an article about this a few years back where somebody was saying, is it The Room, which was astounding to me.
It's a selling point.
Yeah, and then there's the whole story with it was recorded, it was shown in a cinema in California for like 2 weekends, and then got shut down, and the guy who stars in it, wrote it and directed it, is a kung fu expert, and motivational speaker.
In real life or in the film?
In real life. And yeah, this came out and died and got buried, and then Drafthouse Films bought a print sight unseen on eBay for $50, and then they watched it and it turned out to be this, and now they're distributing it. And I'm hoping they don't care enough about the rights to sue us for doing this, but we'll have to sort of react to and in some way review and comment on this movie, I think, just to stay on the side of the law where we're allowed to show this.
I cannot guarantee my attention.
Yeah, but okay. I've spoken about it, and as you can see in this scene, there are some people. So
they wear hats.
Is that
They're clearly gangsters.
Is that pushing the hat agenda? Do you think?
Yes.
I think that there's yeah. Oh, hats are always worn by drug dealers.
It looks like Indiana Jones wants to be a drug dealer.
I
don't like it.
Other than Indiana Jones, I can't really think of many heroes in hats. Helmets, you get a lot of helmets, spaceship helmets and stuff like that. The Shadow.
The Shadow knows.
The Shadow knows. Well, let's get on with talking what we really want to talk about.
I need to know.
Which is the Oscars.
Hey. Fuck boyhood.
Fuck, oh my god, it's so terrible.
I mean, I really just have to start here. It's pissing me off every single day.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
that looked like a glorious stone.
Yeah. So anyway, I would like to hear your thoughts on the movie Boyhood, which I don't know if you're aware of this. Took 12 years to make.
I've heard you literally see him grow up on screen. I mean, never before. What vision from Richard Linklater? So much vision, he forgot about writing an interesting script, developing interesting characters, and making sure that the important plot points of those 12 years happened off camera.
Oh, that's what got to me. That's what got to me with it. It was a movie that I kind of enjoyed for the first half, and then I started to realise that I hadn't seen anything of interest. Like,
You've seen framed shots of the technology of that year.
Yeah, that's... But, I mean, for me, in a...
The same shot.
For me, in a coming-of-age story, you've really got to have probably his first kiss, probably him losing his virginity, first beer, and first time doing drugs. I think those are the ones that you cover, and they kind of have it that he's doing those things now, but we don't see
if it was the first or subsequently anything.
I mean, for those who don't know, the plot of Boyhood is a kid at the age of 6 growing to the age of 18. And that is it, that is the fucking plot.
Richard Linklater himself was on camera as saying nothing really happens. And somehow he's being given Best Picture, Best Director. So he doesn't get any writing nods, we're okay.
Yeah,
which he hasn't.
Yeah, he's cleaning up. And it's ridiculous to me, because I was saying this to you earlier, there's nothing visually interesting about Boyhood.
No.
There's nothing done in it cinematically that is challenging or interesting, other than after doing 2 weeks of work every year, they then had 50 weeks off. That's the thing that... Yeah, I mean, they spent more time actually filming The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And that was good.
Yeah, that was worth it. but you didn't see him grow up on screen.
Okay, I want to be completely fair to the movie. I think Patricia Arquette is good. And Ethan Hawke, the dad, is an interesting character, kind of well played.
It works well because you don't see him a lot.
You don't, yeah, but it's not a movie about them.
No.
The kid starts uninteresting, and by the final scene of the movie,
Yeah,
I wanted to
punch
smash
him.
his face in with a brick.
Oh, it doesn't need to be a brick. Just whatever's when you're in front of him.
He's so full of teenage, like the stuff that you remember thinking when you were a teenager,
Thinking,
and you
oh my
hate
god, I
your,
was a tosser.
yeah, like when you're like, oh my god, isn't like life so ceaseless, and you have to oh god, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
die of fire.
Yeah, I can't even. No.
I have a theory about Boyhood as well, and I'd like to share this theory. I don't think Richard Linklater could get the other kids and other actors to commit to the same contract as he had his main crew, his main guys.
Yeah.
Because the story moves. It moves locations on 3 separate times, and he leaves behind all of his old friends, which means that for every period that there's him hanging out with a bunch of his mates, it's a bunch of people you've never fucking seen before.
Yeah, you have no attachment to them. No, you just don't care about them.
Yeah, you have no reason to care. Like
And that ruins the connection of the characters that are there all the time, because there's just no continuity in their lives.
you don't see the mum gets married. Well, once we know of, and then there's a second time where she has a live-in boyfriend.
Yeah.
We don't know if they get married, but the marriage again happens off fucking screen.
Because everyone knows you don't need to see your parents get married.
I-
It's an unnecessary extravagance that comes with.
I would like to
I've
specifically.
finished this.
I would specifically like to hear your thoughts on the character of the main boy. I can't even remember the guy's name.
What, the kid?
Yeah, his
No, I actually am.
his older sister.
Yeah. Oh,
Now-
charismatic wall.
It's amazing that at every different age that she is portrayed in that movie over a 12-year period.
12 years.
12 years.
It took 12 years
took
to make.
12 years.
Oh,
Over that whole 12
do
years.
you literally see him grow up on screen?
Yeah, you do. And her, and Ethan Hawke grows a moustache, so you know time has
Well, yeah,
passed.
that happens.
But yeah, the older sister is at every single point in that movie the worst possible version of that age she could be.
Yeah.
She's like the annoying, smug little 8-year-old, and then when she's like a teenager, she goes through the popular kid, then the fucking snarky wanker, and then at the end she's just a college hipster toss bag.
Well, we're not really seeing her grow up on screen, you see, so she probably feels a lot of resentment towards her family and Richard Linklater, much like I do, for having wasted what felt like 12 years of my life watching that film.
Oh my god, it doesn't. It's that you will, if you watch this movie, you will enjoy it for the first half, and then you will realise that there is no payoff coming for what has been established.
Yeah,
There's just more
it's just
establishment.
open. I just pray to God they don't make a sequel.
The only moments of that movie I truly enjoyed were where the kid wasn't on the fucking screen. There's a bit where there's a guy talking about being in Iraq.
Yeah, as you say, Ethan Hawke was genuinely quite interesting.
Yeah,
at
Ethan
times.
Hawke had some good views and opinions, and he's actually quite a decent father, I feel.
It's given what he was in, yeah.
Yeah. Are they in a band now?
Oh, hang on, there were ninjas. I saw a decapitation.
Right, okay. And these are, I believe these are the main characters. They're in a band called Dragon Sound, and they
Okay.
fight ninjas.
I should know. I know nothing about this film.
Yeah.
Eddie found it, and I've just come along for the ride.
Yeah,
basically.
it's been on my list for some time, but
I'm not sure what's going on.
well, the thing is, we both love terrible movies, but I think you'd have to admit that I'm probably more knowledgeable.
You can find them there.
Yeah, I know more about zombie movies than a human being should know. I know, for example,
Don't
that
even say zombie movies, man.
yeah, zombie.
Zombie culture.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, no, we've done Boyhood there. I feel.
I really don't want to waste any more time on it.
No, I don't. And I'm going to say this. I don't think it should win Best Picture.
No.
I don't. I'm going to say this right now. We are probably going to end up comparing a lot of movies in this to Guardians of the Galaxy. Because
Won't even mean to.
I know,
It's just that good.
yeah, because I love it. But I'm not. I'm going to say this right now. in my ideal world, I still wouldn't give Guardians of the Galaxy Best Film this year.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining, but it's better than Boyhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
So
my-
the nomination. It was
Oh.
every nomination.
Right, so that's Boyhood done.
Hashtag fuck Boyhood.
So there's a particular movie that we both love, and I want to save that till last.
Okay, no, I can do that. I'll try not to talk about it.
But
yeah, definitely our personal favourite.
there's one we
stick
both
around.
we agree on that one. So let's go through some of the other big nominations.
I got them all just in case you need.
Okay, what you pick? Which one you want to do next?
Picture, yeah?
Yeah, we'll do best picture, and then we'll talk about the ones we've watched that aren't in that
I've
category.
still seen them all. That's the thing. I've seen Theory of Everything. I've seen Whiplash. I've seen Birdman. I've seen Boyhood. And that's it actually so far.
Which ones have you missed?
Still got to watch American Sniper.
Oh, that you don't need to see. It's terrible.
Grand Budapest, Imitation Game, and Selma.
Okay,
But
right. I can't
see any of those winning Best Picture, so I'm not actually.
I can go. There's not much to them.
Yeah,
there.
I'll let Eddie fill in. I'll
Right.
chime in with things that I've heard on the internet.
Okay.
That might add to the
So you've
conversation.
seen Theory of Everything.
Yes.
So we both have a shared opinion on this again.
And I found out today
Yeah.
it's a controversial opinion, but I brought it up at work. I did present it as an un-PC opinion about the lead actor nomination.
Yeah, which is. At what point is Eddie Redmayne still acting in that movie?
Yeah, he portrays the
Deterioration and everything perfectly.
For those who don't know, Theory of Everything is the Stephen Hawking
Stephen
movie.
Hawking movie, yeah. But then there is just a point where he's being carried around, sitting in a chair.
Yeah,
in bed.
it's,
I mean, I understand he has to get in that mindset, as was pointed out to me today every day.
yeah.
But so does every actor when they're trying to portray something that they're not.
But yeah,
The
there
only
is.
exception being Daniel Day-Lewis, who just lives the role.
Yeah, no, I'm not. We're not taking away from Eddie Redmayne. I think
He
he's
does a
fantastic job in that
Stephen
movie.
Hawking.
But there is a point in that movie where he's just a guy sat in a chair.
I know, yeah, as I say,
Controversial, but
Yeah.
you can't deny it.
Yeah, there's a point where
There's
he
a point where his acting
he's not even saying his own lines. He's not even saying his own lines at that
actually
point.
being carried by the performance of the rest of the cast and bouncing off of that.
And
so
how-
in a way, is the what's her name? Felicity Jones? Was that the girl that played his wife?
Yeah. I mean, we
It's
have
there,
a.
isn't it?
She's nominated for Best Actress.
Yeah,
and
she deserves more of a nod than that because she basically helped carry the story through. She spoke about what was going on and brought it, so you can understand properly.
yeah, she feels more like the main character to
Yeah.
me because there
Which
is.
weird.
It's kind of it's weird because I know a lot about Stephen Hawking, so his story of his life isn't new to me. It's not.
Yeah.
I know what scientific developments he came up with. I know
Yeah.
where that
So-
story's going. Whereas the ins and outs of his personal life, I didn't know too much about.
Exactly. And that's I think that was why they made the film.
Yeah, and it has in it, of course, the man who she is now married to in real life, and this is
Yes.
pretty interesting. Who is played by the actor who on April 10th you can see on Netflix playing Daredevil.
That's who it was.
Yeah,
I know I recognise the song.
that has been bugging me all day, and I only just realised it. But
I was looking at him today going, I know him from something on the internet.
yeah, Theory of Everything I think is a great movie. I am not an unbiased.
No, I'm not detracting from
Yeah.
the film. I'm not doing anything like that.
It's a great movie, but the worst thing is I can't give an unbiased review of either that or The Imitation Game because it's a movie about Stephen Hawking and Alan Turing, and that's tailor-made to make me just jizz. But
Just
yeah,
so you know he's not jizzing right now, 'cause otherwise I wouldn't be sitting here.
he would be.
Put it
He
away!
pays for it. But yeah, I would say Theory of Everything is a great movie.
Oh no!
Stop!
The film's gone away!
The film has
What
gone
happened?
away. What has happened?
Uh-oh. Oh no, but there were
Oh, man.
ninjas and there was a band and then I wasn't paying attention again.
Yeah, I can skip this forward and we'll edit this a little bit.
I disagree. I think we should leave it all in.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it's
wow, how long have we been going for?
well, we got past the
Hang on,
ninjas.
we're that far in.
Oh, 40 minutes, of course. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we might jump back at some point here.
Yeah, we'll just keep running.
Right. Okay. This is now officially a cunt to edit. I just want to make that clear.
Just don't worry too much.
Yeah,
Just run
okay.
through, just run
Right. Okay. So anyway,
Where's the band gone?
I think this is the band. I think that he's one of them. I don't.
if anyone watching this actually has a clue what's going on,
Yeah, if you know what is
tell us
happening in the movie
comments.
Miami Connection, please
Give
let us
a
know.
time code and just tell us what we've missed.
Yeah.
Because for a review, we're not doing too
Yeah,
well.
well, this is.
But to be fair, that film's just like a smoke screen.
Yeah, the review was never really the point of this. Feel free to complain about that below. So, another thing I want to discuss about Imitation Game is the supporting cast.
Okay.
Because
I will nod and agree with you.
there were a lot of actors in that who, Lupin, Professor Lupin from Harry Potter, is a major actor in this, whose name I can never remember, but it sounds weird, I think.
David Wellis.
That's the one. Yeah, and then there is also Viserys Targaryen.
Who's also in the Theory of Everything.
Yeah, Viserys Targaryen, who's in this as well. Which
he didn't end up in the mirror, did he? In Doctor Who.
Yeah, he did end up
He was in the mirror.
Yeah, as well as, yeah, so it's sorry, Theory of Everything is what I'm talking about, not Imitation. I'm being an idiot.
You said Imitation.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, but those are two actors who I haven't really seen outside of genre work for a while. David Frellis has done loads of, if you're not English and you're listening to this, which would be cool, because I doubt that many people are going to watch this, but if you aren't, David Frellis is always on British TV. Just constantly. He's always a murderer in something.
There's a fight now.
What are they fighting over?
I'm not sure. He had a beard.
Oh, that's Plot! That's her brother!
Plot!
Yeah.
Oh, look out!
Are they supposed to be college kids?
Yes.
Because what college is he going to?
What's that guy on the left doing?
Oh, he's posturing with a stick.
He's posturing strong. But
He is posturing.
why? There's a lot of people in the way.
Right.
He's well up for it.
Okay.
Anyway, Theory.
Theory of Everything. I think we both agree it's a great movie, and I can see why it's cleared up at the BAFTAs.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
There's been that in the Imitation Game.
this is something I noticed last year. When science goes up against racism at award season, America goes for racism, and England goes for science. Gravity versus Lincoln. Gravity picks up all of sweeps the board at BAFTA, and then Lincoln sweeps the board at the Oscars,
So
because
Gravity still won 8 Oscars.
Yeah.
Still technical.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's because British people don't really care about American racism.
Yeah, we dealt with that.
Yeah, we weren't involved. I have no guilt about the slave situation in America. That really was nothing to do with me. Whereas I think
makes for some good cinema.
it does make for some good cinema. I like Lincoln. But yeah, so we once again have a situation where that has happened. So I understand why it's gone to the sciencey side of things. Going through the ones that you haven't seen, The Grand Budapest Hotel is a Wes Anderson movie.
It's so bad. It's one that I really want to watch.
Yeah.
I just haven't got round to it.
But that's, to be fair, that what I just said is as much as a review as you should need.
Yeah.
If you are aware of who Wes Anderson is, you know what your opinion is on Wes Anderson. And if you like quirky, weird... I'll tell you something about Grand Budapest Hotel and all Wes Anderson movies. They never look the same as anything else you see that year.
That's true. It's got a lot of production and costume awards.
Yeah.
Everything that's been on so far.
Yeah. Selma is Selma is a civil rights movie that has Oprah in it, which is just weirdly distracting.
Wasn't she in another one? Seeing the Butler? Was it last year?
I don't know. Well, she's produced this, which is... I think it's great that I think it's brilliant that Oprah has the power to do that kind of thing, because her story's very weird, and I like that. I like how Oprah got very successful, being extremely successful by just being very good and working very hard at something. But she's in this, which is kind of distracting, because she's not an actress, and she turns up in like 2 or 3 scenes, and you're like, it's Oprah.
You don't see who she's playing, you see Oprah.
Yeah, which I really should be focusing more on the fact that Martin Luther King is... Yeah, Martin Luther... It's a story about Martin Luther King.
Clearly, you just don't care about it.
It's kind of one of those...
You did say that.
Yeah, the thing is, if you don't like Selma, you're probably a racist. But because it's a fairly good movie about a fairly important thing that did happen, but at the same time, I'm British, so I don't really care too much about the terrible things the Americans were doing. We were busy oppressing completely different groups of people in this country.
We were just being bastards to everybody else. But at least we were nice about it.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, we did some terrible, terrible things. But yeah, I mean, the thing I would say about Theory of Everything Selma and The Imitation Game is they are movies. They do not look particularly interesting. They are well shot movies. They are good versions of what they are, but none of those deserve anything in cinematography. They're just.
Oh, I know exactly what's going on in cinematography. Let's talk about that later.
Yeah, but that's because you're pointing. They were pointing cameras at some fairly interesting stuff.
Yeah, but just not in a particularly interesting way.
Imitation Game.
Lead way.
I genuinely thought that I was going to be taken out of that by the fact it was Benedict Cumberbatch. Because in my head, Benedict Cumberbatch is fucking Sherlock at this point.
Why would he be fucking Sherlock?
I don't know. Well, it's inside my head. It's weird. It's a weird and scary place.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
at least as soon as Doctor Strange will hopefully take that man.
Yeah. Which we are both very much looking forward to, I think.
You're talking about I hate Marvel.
No, but Doctor Strange is the one I'm going to say. I don't just go off on a complete tangent at this. Doctor Strange is. Disney have reached this weird point where they are taking incredible risks and doing things that shouldn't work, and there is nothing about Doctor Strange that should work on the big screen. And yeah, like for those who don't know, Doctor Strange fights interdimensional creatures in the rifts between space and time in other universes, and uses magic to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Who doesn't?
So it's like him flying through like pink backgrounds, firing orbs at people and chanting. It's so weird.
It will be interesting how they adapt it. Will they go full on mental dimensional, or will they go back to referencing the planes that were mentioned in Thor 2?
Yeah, but I hope it's the bonkers one.
I hope so too.
Because
Doctor Strange deserves a bonkers diamond.
Yeah, but if you told me, I think if you told either of us, even after Iron Man, if you told me this is going to go, even after Avengers, I wouldn't have really believed you about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there's always a small rumour in the background. But you're always a bit like, really?
Yeah.
Really? And then Captain America, the Winter Soldier happened, and they mentioned him by name.
Yeah, you're like,
right there, you're like, okay,
that was
that's happening.
Yeah. Are they singing again?
Sorry, yeah, back on the tangent.
No, yeah. But yeah, anyway, Benedict Cumberbatch is great in Imitation Game. Keira Knightley is great in Imitation Game. Everybody is great in Imitation Game, but it's not a life-changing experience to watch. And it doesn't focus on the right bits. Because there's loads of stuff about him breaking the code, but there is nothing about... Right, at the end, spoiler alert, Alan Turing kills himself with a strychnine-laced apple because he's being forced to be chemically castrated because he's a homosexual. Because that's the kind of thing that British people feel guilty about.
That's what we do.
But, yeah, so there's this whole very weird thing with it, that it just gets to that point and then it comes up on screen, oh, he killed himself 1 year later. And it's like, no. This was a guy who, basically he's the reason that we're not doing this podcast in German, as far as I'm concerned. When people say that it cut the war short by 2 years, I don't want to think what Nazi super weapons would have been invented in that 2 year period. Who knows what Red Skull would have done with just 2 more years.
2 more years? No.
Like Hydra would have been still operating fairly out in the open. But no, yeah, so I think he's the reason we're not speaking German, and I think what happened to him is one of the greatest fucking injustices of all time. And I hate the fact that he got a pardon for it, because everyone should have a pardon for that.
Yeah.
That should never have been illegal. That was like stupid.
Wrong.
In Britain, we're the most homosexual nation I can think of. Isaac Newton was gay, Alan Turing was gay, Stephen Fry is gay, Freddie Mercury was gay, everybody good from this country.
Yes.
So yeah, The Imitation Game, if you like that kind of thing, check it out. Right, is he...
I think the brother's in the car again. There's definitely a man with a beard. Is it the same man with a beard?
Don't think it is. Oh, he screwed up jumping over the door there, didn't he?
I think, what?
Right. So, again, Grand Budapest Hotel. If you like Wes Anderson, go see Grand Budapest Hotel. If you don't like Wes Anderson, Grand Budapest Hotel will not change your mind. It's a Wes Anderson movie. It does exactly what Wes Anderson does. Although I've got to say, I liked this more than I've liked some of his other stuff. Like,
as I say, I've still got still on my to-do list.
So the other one you haven't seen is American Sniper.
Which I actually had a ticket to go and see with my job, where I get to see films, hooray! But I just didn't make it that day. I can't even remember why. I mean, I decided I'd see it myself and then didn't, because I'm smart.
For those who don't know...
You don't even look threatening.
Why are they attacking these guys?
I don't know, I think it's something to do with their band.
Right, okay, this movie... I've got some suspicion, even if we were paying more attention to this film, it would be incredibly baffling.
Normally I can put a film on, do stuff around the house and still follow what's going on.
Yeah, but this is... Okay, so American Sniper, for those who don't know, is the Call of Duty movie, based on several of Call of Duty's finest multiplayer maps, and it ends when Chris Kyle gets enough kills to call in a helicopter.
So he just waits for the drop.
I mean, there is literally a bit where the last bit of the movie is they are on top of a building shooting, and after that's happened for enough time, they call in an airstrike.
He lost the job because of one of them.
He's been kicked out of Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Oh, now I think he really has.
I don't want to have any trouble. I just get a job from agent.
I think he was kicked out.
Oh, was he? Oh, well, their band took his gig. This is clearly shot, like, just on the street at night.
Yeah, we don't need permission.
Why do you need them to get out of the car? They're in a convertible and you have hit them. Just start hitting them now.
You are holding a chain in your right hand.
You couldn't be in a more tactically superior position.
Yeah, they have no way of defending themselves.
But yeah, American Sniper is bullshit. It's like the most wargasmy film I've ever
He
seen.
just turned into the beer that was being poured on his head.
Oh. See, now you've got the idea. Don't pull him out, hit him in the car. Oh!
Is that racist?
Okay, this is...
He had the same reactions as that guy in Guardians that could have killed the guy with the whistle knife.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I want to say this right now. I don't care how cool you can fly that arrow around, you do not have enough time to kill everyone before someone shoots you. And if you do, you should be quicker.
Check out how it should have ended for Guardians of the Galaxy. You'll see what we're talking about.
But yeah, no, don't bother with American Sniper. It has no character development. It's made for people who watch Fox News.
Question: does it have more character development than Boyhood?
No.
Amazing.
Yeah, at least there is a change in Boyhood.
It did take 12 years to make.
It did take 12 whole years. There's a lot of change. But no, yeah, American Sniper it's a movie for Fox News idiots. It's like I want to point out as well that there's going to be people who might listen to this who think that I'm disrespecting the troops in some way because Chris Kyle was a real person who did fight in Iraq, but read up on Chris Kyle and he was a filthy scumbag and a liar. Oh no, yeah, like he wrote about how he wanted to go down to New Orleans after Katrina and just shoot looters, and it's like, and he talks about his own bloodlust, and there's loads of, and there's a whole story between him and Jesse Ventura, where he said some things about Jesse Ventura, who is a governor now. And Jesse Ventura took Chris Kyle to court, and in court it was proven that Chris Kyle is a liar. So, take from that what you want. He bragged in his book somewhat about killing children and talked about his own bloodlust. So, Bradley Cooper wanted to make this movie. Apparently he was the driving force behind it.
I really like Bradley Cooper. In recent years he's done a lot of good work.
He has. My favourite thing he's done is Guardians of the Galaxy. Which I think is going to be the movie we mention most on this podcast, even though it's not nominated for Best Picture, which is bullshit.
Yeah. It is be on there.
It's
so much of a better film than Boyhood.
People talk about snubs and they talk about Nightcrawler and they talk about the fact that like the guy from Selma isn't nominated for Best Actor, but Guardians of the Galaxy is objectively one of the better movies of the year.
It's one of those films. No matter how you're feeling, what you're doing, you can put it on and you will enjoy it.
Well, it's the whole thing that we always talk about, which is Ghostbusters. Like, Bill Murray should have won an Oscar for Ghostbusters because there was not a better performance from anyone that year, as proven by the fact that we'll still talk about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, in 20 years' time, it will be the same with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm hoping Guardians of the Galaxy 2
Does not
is
follow Ghostbusters.
That's 2, yeah, jeez.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
And we're going to loop back to Ghostbusters at the end of all of these reviews because of a certain actress. So that's everything you haven't watched. So, Whiplash.
Whiplash was awesome. Out of all the Oscar-nominated films that I've watched, including all the ones for visual effects, writing and whatever, Whiplash and the one we're going to talk about at the end of this are the two that I recommend to everybody to watch. It was outstanding.
Yeah,
J.K. Simmons was an absolute bastard, and I loved him for it.
The
The drummer wanted to be the best and would sacrifice everything. It was edited beautifully. It was acted amazingly.
And he can drum.
And
he can drum. He can read. The guy who plays Reed Richards in the new Fantastic Four movie.
Hopefully
is
in the same style.
Yeah, he's a self-taught drumming genius, which is weird.
I accept it.
Yeah, but no, yeah, Jake, it's
Simmons thoroughly deserves the win that he will get for Best Supporting Actor.
J.K. Simmons is a goddamn revelation.
And don't forget, we loved him as J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, he was amazing as J. Jonah Jameson.
We knew then he'd be a right bastard of a drum coach.
Yeah, but I would also point out for those who don't know that I'm not even going to attempt to jump into this scene. Yeah. Why is everybody else standing around really awkwardly? That guy on the left is just looking off to the right. Your friend is crying, dude. Yeah. Why are they all shirtless?
I don't know. I was thinking that when they walked in.
And why is the guy at the back wearing an Aperture Science t-shirt?
Anyway.
Speaking, J.K. Simmons again is Cave Johnson, the founder of Aperture Science. But yeah, J.K. Simmons.
Nice segue.
J.K. Simmons has been great for years.
He was finally getting the recognition he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to be in everything. I want J.K. Simmons to play Marvel bad guys and stuff. He was.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. He would have made a great General Ross.
He would have. The thing I love with this movie is that there's
He should play Thor.
There is a real question in the movie as to, and I think the movie is about this question: is J.K. Simmons a horrible, horrible bastard, or is he doing the right thing? And
he's a horrible, horrible bastard, but trying to get a good result.
Yeah, what the whole point of the movie is basically that there's a famous jazz legendary saxophone player called Cole Porter. I can't remember his name. But the story with him is he played a bad sax bit in somebody's song, and somebody threw a cymbal at him, nearly decapitated him. He went away, no one heard from him for a year, and then he came back and played one of the greatest sax songs in history and became a legend.
Yes.
And J.K. Simmons' argument is that he's trying to do that, and the main argument, the main character's thing is, wouldn't you worry they would get dissuaded by your tactics?
No.
And his response is no, because the next jazz legend wouldn't be dissuaded.
Yeah.
But it's also worth noting in the film that it is clearly stated that one of his former students killed themselves.
Yes.
Which is
his own fault for not being the next jazz musician legend.
Now, this is where... Okay, I'm going to say this right now. What we said about Stephen Hawking and Eddie Redmayne may have been controversial. What I'm going to say now is definitely controversial. Because the argument you can make is he a good person or a bastard? And the argument that a lot of people have been making, and I've read this in a lot of reviews online, is he's clearly a horrible bastard and a jerk because of the fact that kid killed himself. Because then you have to ask yourself the question, is getting the next great jazz musician in the world worth the life of somebody, some kid? And my answer to that question, unlike a lot of other people's, is yes. Yes, it is. I am sorry, but it is. Let me explain this.
Please do. I'm going to just stand back for this one.
Okay, you have to kill a man, okay? He's an 18-year-old man, you've never met him before in his life, he's a youngish guy. He's got his whole life ahead of him. If you do not kill him, the Beatles are erased from history. They don't die. They don't die or anything. They still stay alive, but they don't... The music disappears. Do you kill that guy? Do you kill that guy to keep the Beatles music alive? Yeah, of course you do.
I'm one of those guys when you ask me that question, if you hit the button and kills one person in the world but you get $1 million, would you do it? Yes, I'd press it 10 times.
Keep talking, I need to get a job.
Oh, I don't really have anything to say. But I see where you're coming from, and you would, but you can't know the consequences of that later. There's every chance J.K. Simmons' character could have that kid wouldn't have killed himself, and the drummer still would have made it to his class and still had the same push. So, you know, the kid didn't need to die. I think that's more of a testament to the kid's weak will.
Yeah, no, that's kind of where I'm from on it. It's like it's a really weird view to have, but we're both very big music fans. Which I've probably seen about. I was thinking about the other day. I've probably seen about probably somewhere in the region of 600 to 700 bands live.
I've never tried to work it out, but given 18, 19 festivals.
Yeah, I've done about 18.
Gigs in between those times, then
yeah.
It's
So
not a stretch. Look at 25 bands at a festival.
Yeah, it's
not even that. Say 15. Already, bang, you're on like 300 bands.
Yeah, but I've also done festivals where I've done like 40.
Yeah, exactly. There's been the ones where you just want to see everybody all the time.
Yeah, but yeah, as a music fan, I kind of think, yeah, it's worth one person's life for the next great jazz musician. I don't even like jazz, but the amount of joy, per person that jazz musician will bring into the world is probably immeasurably greater than that guy who was kind of an okay drummer. Like the guy who killed himself was kind of okay and got washed out. He might have married someone, they might have been happy, he might have made that one person very happy, but the total happiness he's bringing to the world, not as great as another great musician. And that's why I side with J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
But you can side with him, he was still a bastard.
Absolutely.
You're just saying the end justifies it.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, is he pushes this kid immeasurably. But it does lead to what I genuinely think might be one of my favourite final scenes in a movie I have seen in years. What happens is the J.K. Simmons is a guy who's in charge of a orchestra, or a little jazz band that he puts together at this studio, and it's not about conducting for him, it's about nurturing young talent in his weird psychotic fashion. And he gets fired from the job because of the main character and stuff like that. Look, to be fair, I'll put a big spoiler warning at the beginning of this because duh. But everything on this video. But yeah, he pushes this kid. The kid gets him fired because they talk to him about the kid who killed himself and all that shit.
Yeah. The other kid was in a car crash.
Yeah.
Trying to get to this thing that he kicks him out.
Yeah, and he jumps and attacked the guy. He attacks him. They have a fight on stage. And
he literally pushes him beyond breaking point. Yeah,
and then. I mean, we're talking drumming till his hands bleed.
Yeah, they're very, very clear on that. There's a line where J.K. Simmons even says, "Wipe the blood off the drum set so we can carry on."
Yeah, it's like after he's done it, he gets the other guy to clean the. But
why are they learning martial arts?
So he runs into him sometime because he's playing at a place this guy frequents. So he meets up with J.K. Simmons' character again, and they have a little conversation where he explains the philosophy. And he offers the kid a chance to come play with him. They're just going to play the same numbers that the band he was previously in was on.
Yeah.
So the guy knows it by heart, so he turns up ready to play. And then just before the end, J.K. Simmons tells him he knows it was him, and they're playing a completely different set.
Never even heard
and it's like it's a brand new song that's just being played that day, and he has no music sheets. He's never heard of it, and he fucks up. And he walks off the stage, and then he reaches the stage door, and his dad is there and hugs him.
So he turns around.
He stops, he turns around, walks back on stage, tells the band to start playing, and from just having heard them play once, proceeds to belt out one of my favourite pieces of music I've heard in a film in a long, long, long time.
Yeah, it was literally earlier in the film, Simmons just drilled him until he could match the tempo for this song.
Yeah.
And then he just does it.
He
just knocks it out of the fucking park.
And then he doesn't stop either at the end. He carries on playing and tells him to queue up the next song, and he'll go into that as well.
Simmons now turned and encouraging him to carry on, teaching him through the solo.
Yeah,
and it's just, it's outstanding.
It's if you love film and you love music, you have to see Whiplash.
Yeah.
I cannot, it's one of those movies I cannot recommend highly enough. I've said this before, me and you have both watched. For the last few years now, I used to have a blog that I wrote for, which is almost as hilariously unsuccessful as my YouTube stuff. But yeah, me and John have watched a lot of the Oscar movies.
Yeah, I used to also run a movie review site that actually got reasonable.
Yeah.
When all my writers and myself included didn't have time anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've written, we've watched.
We've watched.
We've lived films.
Yeah, for so many
Sad
of the.
as that sounds.
One of the things about that is that
It's certainly easier than writing it all down.
Yeah, you realise it's very rare that one of the movies that you see, when you do this, jumps out of you as being a special. Because you see so many, and they're kind of like.
You start getting a bit.
Yeah, there's movies I've loved. I watched Margin Call a couple of years back, which was the inside look at Lehman Brothers before the Wall Street crash, which was just phenomenal to see. And really well acted. Had Zachary Quinto and Paul Bettany in it, as well as Jeremy Irons before he went strange and mental. But yeah, so that sort of stood out. And I remember watching The Help and thinking, this is Shawshank level of good. But this year there were two movies that I were like, these are two of my favourite films. These are in my...
Awesome.
Yeah, and Whiplash is one of them. I cannot... Talking about it makes me want to watch it again.
Yeah.
And it's got... Yeah, it's got a fantastic soundtrack throughout because it's about jazz music.
Drum-based soundtracks are quite big this year.
Yeah, I think we're going to be hearing a lot more percussion next year from people who are trying to get themselves. Well, it's jazz really is making the comeback. I feel because I feel Birdman was a jazz piece of a movie. We're not going to talk about it yet. We're not going to talk about it. We have one more film, but yeah, Whiplash is just astonishingly good.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. So what else was there? There was one more. There was one more that was nominated. This is the problem with drinking while we do this.
What was it?
Well, we've done American Camper, the Call of Duty story.
We've done Racism Bad.
Yeah, racism bad. There wasn't a funny version of Racism Bad this year.
No, there wasn't.
Because last year there was Lincoln and Django, so you could make up your mind whether you wanted to be guilty about feeling slavery or see a strong, proud black man shoot the living arsehole out of a bunch of slave drivers. By the way, if you didn't like Django Unchained, if you didn't like Lincoln, maybe we could be friends, but if you didn't like Django Unchained, we can never really be friends. That movie is one of my favourite films. But yeah, no,
I will get the list.
yeah, to be fair, I'm trying to remember, I've watched all of these. It's ridiculous.
Maybe we've covered them all, we're just being...
Well, there were 8, so I know that. So we've done Selma, we've done American Camper, we've done Imitation Game, we've done Theory of Everything, which are the 4 movies that we really couldn't spoil because they're based on true events.
And we've done Grand Budapest.
There's
only one left.
Right, there's only one left. This is going to be so much fun.
I'm actually a bit worried because we've built it up quite a lot.
Okay, the movie that we're going to talk about is easily the best film of the year.
Easily deserves the Oscar. Undeniably, it's a travesty that it won't win it for that bland piece of crap that we opened with.
Birdman is one.
Birdman.
It's not just one of the best films I saw this year. It is one of the best films I've seen in the last decade.
Yeah, really everything. It's just brilliant.
Right.
Every member of the cast knocks it out the park. Let's go on to what it's about.
Yeah.
And then...
Okay. For those who don't know, Birdman.
And for shame.
Birdman stars Michael Keaton, and to be fair, actually, this is the point.
Yeah,
If we're gonna,
Batman. I'm sorry, as Birdman.
Yeah, if we are gonna rag on the fact that every review and everyone has talked about the fact that 12 Years a Slave, that Boyhood. I was thinking 12 Years a Slave, that's how it felt. Yeah, Boyhood, that was mentioned in every review. I think we have to start off by saying, Michael Keaton, who you may remember played Batman once, plays a washed up actor who once played the famous superhero Birdman. Isn't that self-referential and cool? La-di-da. Now,
it sounds like it's going to be just... So it sounds like such bullshit. They've cast Michael Keaton as this washed-up ex-superhero, but they do it so well. Just the way that his brain works, from the way he was a huge star, then forgotten about, and then so he's trying to really re-establish some sense of dignity and professionalism in his career.
Yeah, he's attempting, after having been kind of washed up and kind of having turned his back on it, and there's references to him having turned down the 4th Birdman movie.
He even opens with an interview.
Yeah.
They interview him about this play he's putting on, and he's trying desperately to deflect attention from Birdman, and then by accident he just says, well, what do you want me to do a Birdman for? And then, there's going to be a Birdman 4?
Yeah.
And instantly the attention's taken away from the play again, and you feel it just break.
Yeah, and the play he's trying to do couldn't be less like the stuff he's trying to get away from. The play he's attempting to put on is an adaptation of a collection of Raymond Carver stories called What We Talk About When We Talk About Love. Which is, I'm going to say, the reason I have that remembered is because that one line might get repeated. The name of that gets repeated quite a lot. But the movie takes place over its first preview.
From the day before the preview start.
Day before the preview start. First preview, second preview, third preview, opening night.
And that's it.
And that's it. And the other thing we should note is that though it takes place over that period,
it's pretty much one continuous shot.
Yeah. Now
it looks, it was incredible.
There are hidden cuts. There are points where like the camera drifts up to look at the sky and they lock it, and then it drifts back down. And there are parts where it moves quickly past some walls, so you can like obviously they've inserted a cut there. But okay, those are two cool and interesting things about this movie. That's cool and interesting. But let's get past that and get on to the reasons why we love this movie. Because the fact that it's one continuous shot is cool and it's cinematic and it's interesting, but that's not why I like Birdman.
Let's start with, you are kept guessing right the way through.
I have no clue.
Does he have power? Does he have powers?
Yeah, there's a whole subplot to this where he may or may not have developed superpowers or may be insane.
Yeah.
Now,
and you're never quite sure if it's either or.
It's worth noting as well, Michael Keaton plays two characters in this movie.
He does.
He plays the actor who is trying to get away from... Yeah, who's trying to get away from his past. But he also plays the disembodied voice of Birdman, who is constantly in his head, like as this...
Telling him that he's amazing.
Telling him that he's amazing, he should go back and be Birdman. Like, he made superheroes cool. Downey Jr. is getting $1 billion.
That is incredible. Downey Jr. on the screen just saying, what's he getting all this money for? You were the first one, man. You brought it back to the mainstream.
Yeah, and to be fair, Keaton did. I feel we did.
Without him, you wouldn't have what you have today.
Yeah, and I am so happy that Michael Keaton made this film, because Michael Keaton is, as it turns out, fucking amazing.
And to be fair, everyone in this is fucking amazing. Keaton knocks it out of the park, but Norton, I haven't seen him be good in a role for about 10 years.
And he's great in Grand Budapest Hotel as well. He's good, very good in that, but it's another one where I think he's more out of his comfort zone than he's been in a while.
In this one, he just plays a narcissistic actor who believes he is the nuts.
I will say, to be fair, he is amazing.
He needs the intensity.
And that's the great thing about this movie as well, is because it's set around the play, there are additional characters, because each of the main characters a lot of the main characters are playing a secondary character.
Yeah.
So you do get to see two separate performances from the actors. And Michael Keaton's two performances are incredible.
They are. You're captivated right the way through the film.
And here's a question for you that shows like why I love this movie. What genre of movie is this?
This is the question.
Yeah.
It's not a comedy.
It's got some amazingly funny moments.
It's a dark comedy.
Yeah, possibly, but then it's
still a psychological tale.
Drama. But then is it also
the folly of fame?
Yeah, but it's also possibly a science fiction.
Yeah, because of that one sequence where he's tripping out on the street.
Yeah, there's a bit in the street where he's walking down the street and basically elements of the Birdman movies.
And Birdman the film is unfolding around him in the street.
I don't think we can overemphasise how fucking weird Birdman is.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I'm going to just say a few little random things in this movie that turn up that are so bizarre out of context that they will make you understand how weird this movie is. Bumblebee from Transformers appears in this movie. Not making that up. That's a genuine thing that happens. A giant robotic bird.
Back to the city.
That's actually
during a full military strike, trying to take it down.
Michael Keaton's character flies from one location to another via taxi. Which doesn't sound like it makes sense, and it really...
Watch it, that was shot so well.
Yeah, and
but literally it doesn't answer it until he gets to his location.
Yeah.
And even then you don't see him get out of the taxi, it's delivered through another member of the cast.
Yeah, and then there's also the ability that might have been a taxi driver who dropped someone else off. Or something like that. I would say this is a movie that, having watched and adored and really focused in on for the entirety of the movie, I still don't know what happens. I don't understand it. It's open to everything. It's so open to interpretation. It's so open to. I know already. I'm gonna love going back through this movie. This is a movie that there will be internet fucking theories about.
Oh, there already are.
Fucking years.
The ending, for those that haven't seen it, is incredibly ambiguous.
Yeah.
There are about 4 different ways it could be interpreted, and about 3 different times the film may have actually ended.
Yeah, there's a bit right before the ending where the movie's originally supposed to have ended.
And it was deemed a bit.
Well, no, it's a bit of a downer, and I was like, at first I heard it got changed because of that, but I've recently looked into it and found out that it wasn't changed because it was a downer. They changed it because it was far too unambiguous, and they wanted people to be left at the end going, what?
But they could. See.
Okay.
Yeah, but I get that they want people to go, what happened? But they could have still cut slightly sooner.
Yeah.
And had that, and it would have been still ambiguous.
Yeah.
But not had people sitting there at the end going, what?
Yeah. So let's.
But don't get me wrong, still amazing because I'm still discussing exactly what happened in that final scene.
Yeah, I mean and then it's not just the final scene. It's difficult to tell in this movie what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds. And it's so joyous to watch. I mean, let's go through the cast.
I'm just gonna cut quickly, just so you know. This film, apparently, the main cast who got beaten up so easily earlier now all learned and mastered martial arts.
Did they get beaten up or did they win that fight?
No, they had to go off to a karate camp.
Oh, right, okay.
This is just what I've caught from glancing. If I'm wrong, Internet.
Yeah, Internet, let us know.
There he appears to be currently.
Oh!
See,
that was kind of racist, I apologise for that.
It's okay.
I don't care.
This film does
If you think that we've been racist or anything like that, please let us know in the comments so we can laugh at you and tell you to go back to Tumblr.
Anyway, the cast.
The cast, right.
Birdman, not this film.
Yeah, let's. I want to sort of. Michael Keaton was kind of a revelation in this for me.
He'd done something you hadn't seen
I had
so long.
you
could see the insane eyes that he had in Batman coming back to the fold.
It was that weird thing that the way he was in this movie is I'm guessing what originally got him cast in Batman, but at the time Batman was released when I was a kid, and I didn't know enough about the film to be overly aware of Michael Keaton before that.
Exactly, I don't know much about what he did before.
Yeah, he was in the Other Guys, and he was a joy every time he was on screen in that. So I guess there's been people floating around for years who've known that Michael Keaton has acting chops, but this was beyond anything.
Yeah, I did not expect a performance like that from him.
I
heard Birdman was good when it came out in America a few months ago. I didn't see it being as good as it was. I think it was a big part of that.
Michael Keaton's character in it is insanely intense. He's on camera for, I would say, 80% of the film.
Yeah.
He is doing a lot.
He is the driving force of the whole movie.
Yeah, so he's doing a lot of work, and he's fantastic. Edward Norton, as we've discussed, is great. Emma Stone.
Honest to God, one of the best performances I've seen. I love Emma Stone. Not because of her acting talent, just because of I love her. I do love her in Zombieland, I love her in this, I love her in Easy A.
I'm going to say this right now. Emma Stone is the only thing I liked about Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Agreed.
Oh no, the opening scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Paul Giamatti, that's alright.
That was okay.
Yeah, that was kind of Spider-Man.
I don't know.
Oh, just by the way, if you're listening to this, please support my ongoing campaign to not see Spider-Man movies. Don't go see any Spider-Man related properties at the cinema, and I'll explain this. If it stops being profitable for them to make Spider-Man movies, they will stop making Spider-Man movies, and then if they stop making Spider-Man movies, the rights to Spider-Man revert to Marvel.
Which means
he'll be in the Avengers, goddammit.
Did you hear? Just complete segue from Marvel here. They're currently in the process of unifying their entire comic universe, and that means they're getting rid of Peter Parker and making Miles Morales the new main Spider-Man, which opens up the possibility, if they get the rights back, that Donald Glover from Community
could
actually play Spider-Man in Avengers if they can work out the deal.
Is there going to be some wrap-up of the Peter Parker storyline?
So yeah, I only know that that's what they're aiming for. If they get the property back, It
Yeah.
doesn't look like they're just making another Peter Parker
No,
Spider-Man film.
I genuinely think that there's, and this is like fucking off tangent from one of the movies, but I think this could be a Wally West Barry Allen situation,
Yeah.
where I don't think that I don't think we'll be a short-lived character. I think we could have maybe 20 years.
Yeah, just stick him in there, get them done, and then bring
20 years, and then you can do a reboot and bring Parker's character back
Yeah,
in,
but
which
it opens up a fresh angle for the cinema, which
Yeah.
it desperately needs.
yeah, the
As far
cinema.
as a lot of people are concerned, Amazing Spider-Man 2 was really Spider-Man 5.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a reason that Iron Man is now going to be a Captain America baddie.
Yeah, there will never be an Iron Man 4 unless someone else goes in the army.
Well, there's the kid from Iron Man.
Which-
3 is
actually
apparently on an
proven to be
11.
on that contract.
He's on an 11 picture deal, which is crazy.
Because he could be the next Iron Man.
Yeah, but there's also the. But yeah, he's also in Jurassic World.
He is.
So.
Also starring our favourite Star
Oh
Lord.
Lord, yeah. But yeah, one thing we do want to talk. But I'd say yeah, Emma Stone is just phenomenal in this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other supporting actresses who are great.
Naomi Watts was amazing.
One of my favourite actresses in this is in this movie. There was a theatre critic, and this is where I'm going to look like a complete moron. The actress's name I cannot remember, but she was, for those of you, this is probably the best reference, David Tennant's Water of Mars episode of Doctor Who. She is the main other character. Yeah, there's no companion in that movie, in that episode, so she kind of fills that role.
David Tennant's wind down specials.
Yeah, but she's also in a Stephen Polyakoff two Stephen Polyakoff dramas called Perfect Strangers and Boobs, which we will pixelate for the internet, damn it. But yeah, she's in Perfect Strangers and Shoot in the Past. And if you ever get a chance to watch those internet, they're fantastic. But yeah, I genuinely.
Why did he put a nail in his nose?
Did he put a nail in his nose?
Yeah.
You know why
that? Boobs and there was a nail in his nose.
Do you know why that guy put a nail in his nose?
Because he can.
Because they found someone who could do that, and they wanted to put it in the film. So yeah, I cannot recommend Birdman enough.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say. Everyone plays it perfectly. Well written, beautifully directed, beautifully edited. My pick for the cinematography Oscar, without a single doubt.
Yeah, the one thing about it is we both said before we even started watching these movies that we'd watch them, we'd record this and talk about how none of these movies were as good as Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was the second best film this year, because Birdman was
amazing.
Birdman, if you like...
Birdman's a better film, but Guardians is more watchable over a longer distance of time.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a movie I could still watch. In 20 years' time, I could still watch Guardians of the Galaxy twice in 1 week and not be that fazed by it. Birdman is a movie I will probably watch once every 2 or 3 years.
Every couple of years, and I will guarantee I'll enjoy it every time.
And it's one of those movies that I know will be a case of when somebody tells me they haven't seen. But Birdman's a movie that is in
one of those ones. If people come around and say they haven't seen it, and like we've just been out for a night out, had a few beers, I'll put it on, and we'll sit here and watch Birdman.
Yeah, it's one of because it's so. There is nothing about Birdman that is bad.
And as I said at the start of our talk about Birdman, it's a travesty.
It
looks likely to beat it.
Yeah, it's Boyhood is winning because of a gimmick.
Yeah, not because it's a great film.
I'm going to quote a fellow YouTuber. I'm going to quote Tyler Oakley, who is much more successful than I can ever possibly be because I'm not gay and I think I'm funnier than him. But no, anyway.
You're never going to be gay with that attitude.
Yeah, I know. I could try. Maybe if I went back to gay school. I knuckled down. I tried harder. I could become a homosexual, and then get a foothold in the show business. But no, Tyler Oakley. In the show business, the business of the shows. Tyler.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah. Tyler Oakley said in a YouTube video, there is no glory in the process, and it basically meant don't bang on about stuff you're going to do, just do it. Which was about the same time I stopped banging on about stuff that I was going to do and started making more videos. And there is no glory in the process. It should be applied to Boyhood. Yes. The fact that it took 12 years to make is not necessary. You should view these movies as movies. Do they succeed as the thing you're watching on the screen? Like, okay, if somebody in years to come, I'm going to tell you this right now. At some point in years to come, there will be a movie made in incredible CGI that is a coming-of-age movie, and by that point we'll have photorealistic CGI. And somebody will be able to make a movie where somebody literally grows up on screen and it looks exactly the same as it would as if it was real, like when a couple of, like maybe even 50, 60 years from now. But somebody will be able to do that. And when that happens and maybe becomes the norm, people are not going to go back to watch Boyhood, because without that gimmick, this movie is nothing. And I want to say that isn't to detract from the gimmick. The idea of shooting a movie over a long period of time is particularly interesting. It's a quite cool idea. Richard Linklater did it very badly by choosing to make a terrible film over 12 years. Although, to be fair to Richard Linklater, he did only make 1/12 of a terrible film every year, which is better than some people. But this is not a movie that is worth your time. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth... I genuinely have to say this. If you like the movie Boyhood, I think you're probably an idiot. And that might sound harsh, but if you can tell me why you like that movie without using the words, he literally grows up on screen, or it took 12 years to make, and you can explain to me as a cinema fan, what did you like about it? Because, okay, things I like in movies that are a bit weird. I like a movie to have a look. I like it to have a feel. I like to watch a movie and be like, wow, I've never seen this before. Lord of the Rings is a great example. Like, every moment on screen is like, wow. Iron Man's another example. Every moment on screen is like, wow, I'm seeing something cool and new and interesting. And there was nothing new or interesting presented on screen during the entirety of Boyhood.
Fuck Boyhood!
It was terrible. And the fact that it is going to win Best Film over Birdman
It's depressing.
It's...
I would have loved
For the Oscars this year to have been a straight down fight between Whiplash and Birdman. I would
Yeah.
have still favoured Birdman, but if Birdman lost to Whiplash, I wouldn't be overly bothered.
Yeah.
Like back in, I think it was 94, when Forrest Gump beat Shawshank and Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
We still know they're great films, and we know Forrest Gump shouldn't have won that Oscar.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm not that annoyed, because Forrest
You're
Gump
not-
is still pretty good.
Yeah, we have a very different opinion
It was
on that.
okay.
I hate revisionist history. I don't like revisionist history. I also don't particularly like, and this is going to be this.
Tom Hanks.
This is going to Tom. I don't like Tom Hanks. That is the most controversial thing I've said. I've attacked Eddie Redmayne's disabled acting. I said that it's kind of a kid dies as long as it leads to decent music. And now the most controversial thing is fuck Tom fucking Hanks. Tom Hanks, I will state, is one of the great comedic actors of all time.
He deserved his place in the 90s as one of the biggest.
Oh, if Tom Hanks didn't have a comedy, I'd queue up to see that damn thing.
Because it wasn't a sequel to Big. Big was amazing. Never give a sequel to it.
Oh no, there is a reason I would go see a sequel. If it was called Little, and it's old Tom Cruise finds the same thing, and Tom Hanks finds the machine and wishes to be young again.
That's sweet. I like that.
See, that would work.
Or I'd also see it if it touched on the fact that technically that woman in Big had sex with a child.
Wouldn't it be weird? Wouldn't it be weird if you came back to it and he'd when he'd grown up sought her out, and like they'd had she was like 20 years older than him, but he was 20 years. Yeah, because she is. I mean, there's no technically about it. He's not physically as old as he appears. Our Oscar podcast has taken a weird fucking turn.
Anyway, yeah, that was we went through 20 years ago to get here.
Yeah. So right.
Anyway, but yeah, if it came down to Whiplash or Boyhood, not Boyhood, fuck Boyhood. If it came down to Whiplash and Birdman, I'd be happy regardless of who won.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah, the fact is, it's really annoying to me that as a result of the way this Oscar's going to go down, Boyhood will win. Real cinema fans will bang on forever about Birdman and how it should have won. And as a result, Whiplash is going to kind of get lost in the shuffle, I feel.
It is.
Whiplash is going to be a movie I'm going to have to tell people about.
A lot of people at work I've told you should see Whiplash, and they've gone, what's that? What's that about?
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones. There's always one in the best film category that's kind of like, where did you come from? And
it's this one.
and to be fair, I will say this: Whiplash is so good, it's got me excited about Fantastic Four. Like the guy in it, I can understand why he wasn't nominated because he's a very young actor playing a young guy. And I hate to say this: if you are a young person, you are not complicated. You are not difficult to portray. You become
even if
more
you're filmed
complicated.
over 12 years.
Yeah, you become more complicated as you age, and you become more contradictory in your nature. It happens to all people as you realise some deeply held beliefs you have don't work with something that you actually want to do. and you adjust and change, and that's how you become an interesting person, and that's why it's very unusual for young people to get Oscars for playing young people. It doesn't happen. You have to be like playing a 40-year-old or something like that. Ageism at the Oscars doesn't get mentioned enough.
Play that actually. If Redmayne gets it, it would be a pretty young winner.
Yeah, that's
fair.
But then again, he's not.
Twist,
But he's not playing a young person.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's playing someone that.
Although to be fair, I will say this: Eddie Redmayne throughout the movie, they do very little makeup on him to make him look aged,
Yeah,
and it still ages appropriately. Which made me realise that despite his horrible wasting disease, Stephen Hawking's aged really fucking well.
Yeah.
He's not got any wrinkles, but then again, he doesn't move. God, I'm a terrible person.
I just like sitting here and letting Eddie talk.
But it should just be called Eddie digging a hole. So those are the best film nominees. I know we have both seen a few other movies that were nominated on.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy is nominated for some technical
Best visual
Oscars.
effects and best makeup.
And I'm going to say this right now.
I'm to get one of the two.
I'm going to say this right now. That is the one area I can say without having to track down other movies, like without having to go out of my way to seek them out. I know what movies had the best visual effects, because if there was a large visual effects movie being produced, I damn well saw it.
Yeah, agree.
I saw Guardians twice in the cinema, which is not unusual for me with superhero movies. No, I didn't see it as much as I would have liked to.
You have made up.
I've made up for it since. I've probably watched Guardians of the Galaxy somewhere in the region of 20 to 30 times.
Easily.
I haven't watched a movie this much and this many times since The Avengers.
Yeah.
And prior to the creation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I hadn't done it since The Matrix.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I watched Tron Legacy about 3 times. I watched that twice.
That's only 3. That's a standard number.
Whereas the Marvel stuff is just amazing, and they had a great year.
They did.
Guardians of the Galaxy
were incredible.
Guardians and Winter Soldier are incredible.
And even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. picked up.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. developed into probably the third most engaging show on TV after Arrow and The Flash.
The Flash, which is the best show that came out this year.
Yeah, The Flash is the best show that came out this year. Followed by every 4th episode of Gotham.
Pushing it.
It's really picked up since they got rid of Barbara, actually. Yeah. To be fair, it shouldn't be.
The guy they brought in to play Crane.
Yeah.
The guy they wish they could have got Jeremy Irons for.
Yeah, I don't. I'm going to say this right now. I don't. We don't particularly rate Gotham, but the Penguin in Gotham is the reason that Gotham is an acceptable show.
Yeah.
And when we say,
I'd struggle.
Yeah, and when we say every 4th episode, we mean that every 4th episode there is an episode that is more or less exclusively Penguin, Bullock, and Gordon, and that's fine. Nigma can dick off. But yeah,
Nigma is horribly miscast.
Yeah,
I like his riddle thing, but the guy playing him just doesn't do it right.
Yeah, he doesn't. There's been a few points already where I'm like, at this point you should be cursing the others for not understanding your genius.
Yeah.
Okay, we've gone on to TV there, but so
slow motion drop shot.
That was a real dude dropping as well. That wasn't a dummy, which is shocking for this time. And also, Dragon Sound just killed a guy who I believe is the brother of one of their band's girlfriends.
I think so. I've forgotten what happened.
Or someone who's in their band.
And I've got no idea what actually happened since the start.
Right. So, other movies. We Guardians. If you don't know if you don't know,
I've seen them all.
Yeah. What's visual effects?
Got Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Fantastic movie. And visual effects wise.
Visually great, but not the best visual effects.
No, because there was a lot more stuff that was easier to do.
Yes.
In Winter Soldier.
There was stuff you'd already seen, like the helicarriers and things like that. They'd already been done.
I'm going to say this right now. I would guess that everything on those movies is filmed, like everything interior is filmed on studio rather than on location. Even like bits in the hospital, I reckon that was studio. They built a hospital set, but at the same time, there's less that Winter Soldier had to do. Winter Soldier could go outside. Everything in Guardians was either built or a visual effect.
They built a lot of it, and then green screen behind it. That was brilliant.
And by the way, I can't believe James Gunn was given a Marvel movie.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous that happened. James Gunn.
But right person
Yeah,
for it.
those who don't know, James Gunn made Sliver, which is one of my favourite movies ever because halfway through it goes to black screen and the words 2 days later come up. Because there was no way to jump between the first part of the plot and the second part of the plot without substantial time having passed. And James Gunn said, instead of just doing that in some weird cinematic way, I will just tell the audience. Because James Gunn respects you as a person. But yeah, no, Guardians, if you don't like Guardians of the Galaxy, nothing we're going to say here is going to make you like it. And if you do like Guardians of the Galaxy, you know why we like it.
Yeah, James Gunn rated Whiplash his favourite film of the year.
Really?
I remember that, yeah. He did a little write-up on Facebook, I think it was.
That's interesting, because I would figure that James Gunn... Okay, Whiplash
I want to make sure I'm not making shit about James Gunn. So
Whiplash is kind of very cinematic. Which is weird to me, because I would figure James Gunn would like something like Birdman, which is weird.
Yeah. You might not have seen it when he did this, maybe.
Yeah, there's no way James Gunn hasn't seen Birdman. If you haven't seen Birdman, you don't have the... I'm going to say this right now, actually. If you want to have a conversation about film and you haven't seen Birdman, you don't deserve to have a conversation about film.
I'll let him off if he hasn't seen it this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
Purely because he's been quite busy.
Okay, no, actually, I'll say this right now. You have 5 years from this point to have watched Birdman.
Yes.
If in half a decade you have not seen that film,
Whiplash.
your opinion on film doesn't count. Like in the same way that if you've not seen, there are certain movies you have to have seen. If you haven't seen Fight Club by this point, or The Matrix, or, you know, and I'm going to say this actually, if by the age of 30 you haven't watched Casablanca at least once, right, because there should have been, if you care about film, there should be some drive to seek that out, you know? But yeah, so what else was nominated for visual effects? Because I just want to talk about
Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think we've said enough about how much we love that. X-Men Days of Future Past.
Good.
Which was beautiful.
Beautiful,
but
well
again,
done.
Not really anything you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Sentinels were cool, but I've seen giant robots attacking things in those, what are they called? Transformers movies? I call them movies in the loosest sense of the word. I've still not finished number 4.
I would like to bring up the fact that there is a particular soreness about me with the movie X-Men Days of Future Past, which is that I did not go see it in the cinema. John did. John had seen it in the cinema. I didn't go see it in the cinema. I waited till I could pirate it because I'm scum. And I watched it. And when I did watch it, I realised that John hadn't told me something about the film. And I got very angry because I would have seen it in the cinema, which is that fucking Blink was in the movie.
Oh, you see, Eddie loves Blink.
Blink is
I forgot to mention that she was in it.
Blink is one of the most minor characters in the history of comics. She was in like 4 issues of X-Men during... Oh, Christ, this is going to be... After all the talk about film, this is where I'm going to produce how geeky I am. During the Phalanx saga, Blink was among one of the original young mutants kidnapped by the group, who wound up interred with the group that would go on to become Generation X, including Jenna, Diamondback, M, and Jubilee. She killed herself to save them. Then, a couple of comics later, when the Age of Apocalypse saga got kicked off, she was back as a member of the X-Men and was awesome. She's the one in Days of Future Past who flows portals with purple knives, and if you do not put her in another X-Men movie, then you don't deserve the rights to X-Men. Give them back to Marvel. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And I've done... that is everything I have to say about Days of Future Past.
And although to be fair, the Blink scenes were probably the reason it was nominated for visual effects.
Yeah, that was
incredible.
It's one of the things is these days it's not difficult.
Blink.
Yeah. One of the things about visual effects these days is it's easy to put anything on screen. You can literally put anything on screen, so it's all about how you do it, what you do, and the way they use Blink and the way they use those portals is very, very clever. But what else is visual effects?
These are actually my 2 favourites for getting the award. And
Really?
I'll start with the one I don't think will get it, but might get it. Interstellar.
Haven't seen Interstellar.
It was a wonderful, beautiful film, but I don't think it'll win Best Visual Effects because Gravity came out last year. And I just can't see them doing 2 space films in 2 years. That's literally the reason why. They cover black holes. The science is actually pretty sound. Neil deGrasse Tyson even came out and went, you know what? Yeah, not bad. Gravity, he ripped to pieces.
I know that another shout out to another YouTuber, one that you don't like, Cinema Sins. Yeah, but Cinema Sins Gravity one has Neil deGrasse Tyson poking holes into physics.
And so, but yeah, it was a beautiful film. It was really well done. I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan, and I've become a big person, part of the McConaughey. So yeah, it Well worth seeing if you get it.
It's not the McConaughey anymore. I'm sorry, there was the McConaughey was for those who don't know is Matthew McConaughey becoming good, like going from the guy who was in Sahara 5 years ago.
Someone's been samurai sworded in the chest.
This took a turn. But yeah, so McConaughey is him becoming good, very much doing what Anne Hathaway has done over the last 5 years.
She's also in Interstellar.
And I would say we're out of the McConaughey. It's not a Renaissance anymore. McConaughey is just one of the best damn actors that
yeah,
exists.
I'll give you that. Since Dallas Buyers Club, he's basically done.
Alright.
Oh, the ninjas! I forgot there were ninjas.
We have not paid enough attention to this.
They were in at the start. I just don't remember why they're back.
Yeah.
And now, my favourite for the best visual effects, I don't know if everyone agrees, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Monkeys on horses. Shooting guns.
I agree with
in
you.
a war zone.
I agree with you, even though I haven't seen the movie, because I have seen every other goddamn Planet of the Apes movie and all of the episodes of the TV series. Oh yeah, I haven't got around to it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, literally it is the only thing with the word Planet of the Apes on it that I have not watched.
It's very good.
And as such, fuck everything else. Give it to Planet of Goddamn Apes. Because, you know...
You get a chance in the next 2 weeks to stick it on.
My genuine favourite moment in the history of cinema, like out of everything I've ever seen on screen, I'm including Luke, I Am Your Father, I'm including I'm Batman, I'm including the Hulk smash. My favourite single moment in the history of film is and will always be, get your goddamn paws off me, damn dirty ape.
There's something these new ones miss.
Yeah, it is. Charlton Heston is old and crazy now, but once he fought apes.
I just realised something quickly about what we're watching.
Yeah.
The black guy died.
Of course he did. Where's the black dude?
Actually, I don't know, to be fair, he might not have died.
I think he got stabbed pretty
He
hard.
definitely got slashed pretty bad.
Yeah. This movie's pretty short.
They all started murdering as well.
Yeah.
They've just become killers.
So, this movie looks like it's wrapping up, so we better run through every other category. So let's run through...
Hobbit sound editing.
Is that your...
No, I think... wait.
Sound mixing might be American Sniper. American Sniper did sound very good.
This is the thing, normally, in years gone by, editing and mixing for sound always go to the same film. But I really think Whiplash deserves sound mixing.
Yep, yeah, I'm with you on that.
So, but it's not nominated for editing,
Yeah.
so that's open.
So we'll skip live action short, because none of us...
These ones are so hard to follow. Generally in your Oscar sweepstakes.
Yeah, that's if you're doing an Oscar sweepstakes, take a chance on that one.
Production design.
Probably going to be Grand Budapest Hotel for best production design.
Into the Woods. I'm still not sure how Meryl Streep got.
Who's up for original song?
The Lego Movie, which, as we all know,
Yeah,
controversially overlooked for best animated film.
The fact that the Lego Movie was overlooked for best animated film, even on a nomination, don't get me wrong, it shouldn't have won, because the winner of best animated film should be...
How to Train Your Dragon 2?
I think it's Big Hero 6.
I prefer How to Train Your Dragon.
I cried literal tears of joy at how happy I was.
But you
No.
Emotional tears.
No, to be fair, I cried tears of joy during both of those movies at how good they were. They were just... Those movies made me so happy.
They were both amazing. For me, they're definitely the two it comes down to about Lego. I think How to Train Your Dragon nicks it.
Okay, so let's get up to... so let's hit the big ones. Who's up for best supporting actor?
Come on, list.
Because all the best actors, I think we've discussed in there.
We haven't touched on Foxcatcher.
This is one I wanted to talk about.
Because I haven't seen this, but you went to the cinema.
I went to the cinema to see Foxcatcher, and I want Foxcatcher to win Best Sound Editing, because Foxcatcher is silent. Foxcatcher has no background music. Foxcatcher has...
It's not nominated.
I know, and it's a travesty, because it would be such a bold move. Foxcatcher has 4 scenes that have sort of swelling music. That come up in the background of them, but other than that, there's no music throughout the film. It's all silent, naturalistic background noise, and because of that, it is one of the most tense and anxious films. The last quarter of the film takes place during winter. Yeah, the last quarter of the film takes place in winter, so it's snowed. So even that background noise is muffled and gone. For those who don't know, Foxcatcher is the true story of 2 brothers who both won gold medals at the Olympics in wrestling, and they fell in with a guy called a very wealthy man who in this is played by Steve Carell. And at first I was all like, Brick from Anchorman, he's all old. and he's got stuff on his face, and they've made him wear a mask. And then by the end of it, he had completely taken me in. Steve Carell was a revelation in that movie. I understand why he didn't get a nomination. I understand why he's not nominated for an Oscar. But oh no, is it? Well, I understand why he's not going to win. Let's just put it that way. I understand why he's not going to win because he's up against J.K. Goddamn Simmons.
No.
Is he not? Actor. Is he for Best Actor?
Yeah. He's up against Keaton and Redmayne.
If the Academy, in a surprise shock, give that to Carell, like they did with Marissa Tomei for My Cousin Vinny.
That was an accident. They read the wrong name.
Yeah, if Steve Carell wins that, I would be happy. Steve Carell was amazing in that film. As was Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum's a really good actor.
I've come to terms with this since 22 Jump Street.
We both agree. Me and John both agree that Channing Tatum is unfair. He shouldn't be. He's like Terry Crews. He shouldn't be that good at that many things.
Yeah, it turns out, just for those that don't know, in 22 Jump Street, a lot of his work was improvised. And
yeah, my name is Hare. That line he was told, that was the first day of filming, and he was told he had no lines of dialogue, and then Jonah Hill just did that to him. Somebody else we didn't mention from Birdman. Zach Galifianakis in Birdman is amazing.
Genuinely, a range you didn't think someone like that was capable of.
Yeah, and he's halfway between old Zach Galifianakis and Finn. Like, if you've seen Zach Galifianakis now, he looks uncomfortably thin, and all he did was cut out beer, which raises some serious questions about what Zach Galifianakis was doing before. So yeah, Foxcatcher, I would recommend. It's a great film to watch. You will only watch it once. I will happily never see Foxcatcher again for the rest of my life, but I'm really fucking glad I saw it, because I don't want to see it again because it's unbearably tense. But don't research it. Don't research the true story before you see it, because it's unbearably tense because you don't know what's going to happen. And what happens isn't that out of the ordinary.
He knows you're coming.
So, we've done... who's in Best Actress?
Best Actress, we have Marion Cotillard for 2 Days, One Night. I haven't seen it.
No fucking clue.
Felicity Jones' theory of everything. I think she...
Yeah, that's probably...
The nod, as we said earlier.
I would actually give it to her, but I will... this is one of the ones... Is Patricia Arquette in this, or is this supporting?
No, this is Best Actress.
Okay, right, so yeah, no, she should win that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Julianne Moore has won everything.
Oh, okay.
Since Golden Globe.
She plays somebody who has Alzheimer's in that movie.
I haven't seen it. I don't know about it. I will watch.
I know that, and I would also like to make my own personal point that Julianne Moore is a goddess, and I would cut off a limb if I was allowed to just sniff her.
So Julianne Moore, if you're listening and want to see someone cut a limb off,
so yeah, if you want that, just so I can get close enough to smell you. That was weirder than I expected it to come.
Please,
I love Julianne Moore. Okay.
Then we had Reese Witherspoon in Wild.
Is that the walking movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Rosamund Pike in Gone Girl. It was okay, the film. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, because of freestanding prejudices I get against certain actors who do not deserve to be Batman.
It was a good film, but the ending leaves a lot to be desired, and that really upset me.
I'm going to say this right now. People who have been listening to this whole thing are about to get a revelation into how my mind works. The guy who's in Daredevil is also in Stardust.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's from like an hour ago. This is what my brain does in the background. Jesus
well,
Christ.
We did talk about Batman, which made you talk about Daredevil, which pushed you back to Stardust.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, anyway.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
No, it's because I was thinking of Witches, because I know Meryl Streep's up for Into the Woods.
She literally just gets nominated these days just for doing a film.
Yeah, to be fair, at this point, don't give Meryl Streep another Oscar. It's pointless. She's not pushing herself.
No, she just knows she'll do it.
At this point, Meryl Streep shouldn't win an Oscar for anything other than playing a small black child.
Yeah.
By the way, this is a really white Oscars.
Yeah, this has been so covered, but as I believe we've already...
There weren't, other than Selma, there weren't really many performances from black people this year.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird that happened.
Before, there always has been.
There's always been one or two, but like, think about it. What did Jamie Foxx do this year? Nothing. What did Sam Jackson do?
Horrible Bosses 2, but that's not an Oscar.
Yeah, there's no one.
It's like the Samurai Attack.
Yeah. Oh, he did. No, Selma's good. Selma is good, but
you can see
at the same time it's a very young guy playing him.
And if you look at the films nominated and the other performances,
they are better.
They are better.
Yeah.
It's not that the Oscars are full of old white men who don't want to give black people a nod.
No, and I would say this.
The performances weren't good.
And I would say this. I would give Gyllenhaal. If there's one other nomination, if there's one other nod to be given, it's to Gyllenhaal, not to the guy from Selma.
Was very good,
and mainly because of his performance and the effort he put into it.
Yeah.
The other guy did an American accent and repeated things Martin Luther King said. Martin Luther King is kind of an easy guy to act like.
Much like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, no, but the thing is with Martin Luther King, you don't need to portray levels of complication.
Group shot.
Group shot. I will end the movie.
Hooray! Something happened.
Right. Well, at least now.
What? That film ended with mass executions in the woods with samurai swords.
So I believe we just basically now have the credits of this movie to wrap up. So what else was there in the Oscars that we found interesting and weird? Yeah, I have no idea on the supporting cast stuff.
Laura Dern in Wild.
Okay, you know what we do during these credits? Right, 5 movies released this year that you would nominate for best film.
Best film? Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Despite all Marvels, you said they've had a stellar year.
Yeah, those
I'd put 22 Jump Street in just because it's so much better than it should be.
I agree with you on all 3 so far. And this is why the Oscars is bullshit, because the Oscars panders to these weird sensibilities of cinema goers who don't really exist. Like, you're talking about best film. Best film is the film people liked the most.
Yes.
And the film people liked the most this year was probably Captain America: The Winter Soldier, followed shortly by Guardians of the Galaxy. And the box office kind of shows that.
I'm trying to think what else I saw.
I
would probably have given Interstellar a nod. But purely it was knocked back, I think, because of Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both agree that... I agree with you on those 3, and I think we all agree that Birdman...
Birdman, but it's already nominated.
Birdman's already nominated. So
I didn't want to say it because of that.
Yeah, so stepping outside of that, you've got those 3. I would also say that I think that How to Train Your Dragon.
I really loved it. Yeah.
Was a great film released this year, and that was absolutely sterling.
Could have easily had a nod for best film.
And here's a nod one because I genuinely think it's an important film. I would nominate the movie Cash for Kids. It's a documentary. It's currently on US Netflix. I had seen it a while ago, and it's all about the fact that in America, it's a real documentary about something that's really happening. And in America, private companies run juvenile detention facilities, and they're bribing judges to send kids to them. Because so basically, it's Cash for Kids. And I would nominate that movie for an Oscar just because everybody needs to be aware that that is happening.
Did it win an award somewhere else?
No, it's kind of on Netflix this year. That's the first I saw American Netflix this year. That's when I first nominated. It might not have even been made this year, but you should watch that. That's just me being all political. Right on, bro.
Okay. Well, that was that film.
Right, yeah, that
was us talking about the Oscars.
Yeah, we touched on it enough to be legally covered.
I think so. There was an injury.
And now over a black screen, I guess we just say thanks. For listening.
There's probably going to be a few episodes. We hope you watch them all.
Yeah,
or listen to
we'll do more.
And if you can please explain what the fuck just happened in that movie, that would really help us.
Yeah, we're not going to pay attention to any of the movies we watch in the series.
I'm probably not going to watch that again.
And I'm probably not going to read the comments, so this will remain thoroughly baffling to me.
I will read the comments.
And John
will tell Eddie, and I'll pretend that I had a revelation.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. Is it a divine revelation?
No.
Okay, then we're in trouble. But yeah, we'll do more of these on a kind of weekly basis. No, on a monthly basis.
Yeah, as often as we can.
As often as we can.
At least once a month.
Give us more suggestions for terrible films we should have on in the background. And leave suggestions as to subjects you would like to hear us talk about that are completely unrelated to what's happening on the screen.
Preferably things that are really controversial, because as you'll find, there's a few opinions.
Yeah, I can dig a hole so deep really quickly. I'm not saying that if you're transgendered you're not a real person, but no, that's for another day.
That's for the next episode.
Yeah, and you know what annoys me is there's people on the internet with no sense of irony. But so anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
And bye.
Bye.